Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Harlequin, and I am here tonight with FearGorm, and we are here with the scReddit crew, bringing you just a purely interesting show match today between RedAlert, who's going to be in the lower left-hand corner here on Steps of War, and Avoid in the upper right. Avoid choosing Protoss, which is his standard style race, although frequently we've seen him playing Zerg and everything else like that. And both of these players are two-time scReddit Open winners, and I'm not sure if they've ever played each other before. I'll take a look at that in a moment, but RedAlert in particular won 2 tournaments back-to-back without losing a single game ever throughout. And as far as I know, he's never lost a game ever anyways. Avoid, on the other hand, is a brutally efficient and also nicely varied Protoss player, and so I'm interested to see their Protoss versus Terran game now, since this is game 2 in a best of 3, I believe, show match. It could be best of 5, though, for all I know. And we're going to get a chance to see what his Protoss is like. So, Fear, you've seen both these guys as many times as I have, if not more. What do you think about all that, and how are you doing?
Yeah, so I actually haven't seen RedAlert's PVT or TVP from his perspective too often, but I know Avoid's PVT is actually, I think, is his strongest matchup. I mean, he has so much versatility. I can guarantee you we're going to see a fast expand from him, maybe even off of one gate. He likes his style of checking to see what the Terran is doing. If he sees that the Terran is not going for 3x, basically he'll just expand right there. And he has a lot of versatility. He likes to tech very, very quickly after that, apply a lot of heavy pressure. RedAlert, I know, has a very harass-heavy style of play. I want to see how that transitions from TVZ to TVP, because I know that RedAlert, if he can get any kind of opening, he will exploit it. And I know that in the last game he made really, really good use of Blue Flame Hellions, and basically gave himself enough time to develop the Doom push, about 170 food of this Terran might. That was very, very difficult for Void as the Zerg player in that match to deal with.
Yeah, he is brutal. He knows his early game armies and he knows his late game armies. And versus Zerg, he did it perfectly, which is that he just kind of harassed until he could get a Doom army, which frankly looked nothing like his harassment army. I guess he still had a whole bunch of Hellions left over, but in general, versus Zerg, he knew he wanted that late game Thor and Siege Tank army because it's so hard for Zerg to counter. We'll have to see where exactly he's going to go in terms of his tech this time for his anti-Protoss army, because he's going straight away for a tech lab. I think he built a single Marine, so could he be going Marauders? Could he be going Reapers? Reapers are a lot harder to get these days. Definitely going for fast Marauders. So I think he's going to anticipate a sort of Zealot Stalker push and just try and mass some Marauders early on. And this is kind of a classic rush style play. I think very early on after beta we saw a lot of good TVPs where the Terran just built a proxy Marauder and got fast concussive shells and just microed the hell out of a bunch of poor Protoss. And it looks like RedAlert might even be charging out there right now. We'll see what the timing looks like here.
Yeah, the thing about a build like this is just so solid. It's not all-in-ish at all. It applies a lot of heavy early pressure. And against weaker Protosses, I think Avoid should be fine here. But against weaker Protosses, it can often just win you the game outright, because microing with Marauders is just one of the toughest things in the world for a Protoss to deal with. And it comes so early in the game that you need to scout. Your scouting needs to be really, really good. And Avoid, yes, smartly moving, and he knows that the SCV is just bait. He can't lose any units. I mean, if he loses a single unit before this push comes, he's going to be in absolutely huge trouble. So I think he's playing it smart. He's not fast expanding like I'm usually used to him seeing. And he's waiting until he gets his proper scouting information, but I do think he's moving out a little too much with these units, and he needs to run away as quickly as possible. Oh no, and there goes the first concussive shell. And he's just going to double around and try to do as much damage as possible. And yeah, we see that he's going to overdrive mode right now, trying to get out that warp gate research. It will be out in time, though, and RedAlert's pullback here, I think, is going to be his undoing.
Yeah, I think it's strange. If I were RedAlert here, I would want to push, but, like I said, I've never seen him lose a game, so I can't really disagree with him. But, yeah, that fast concussive shell is so tough because from a Protoss perspective, it counters both of your early game units. They're anti-armor, so they do a lot to Stalkers, although the Stalker speed helps out a little bit, and they slow down Zealots to the point of uselessness. So I really want to see him push right now, and frankly, I'm very happy to see this build order because it's been a while since I've seen just a good, solid M&M push, and you can see now back in his base, he's got stim research. He's got a reactor up, and he's just going to go for an M&M ball. I don't see there. Nope, there's the engineering bay. I don't see any sign of a factory or anything. It looks like he might just go for a quick upgrade, and that's that. So hopefully he'll start pushing soon. But it looks like, like you said, he's kind of taking his time here, and I'm frankly amazed that he's taking his time because it seems like he would have such an advantage over a warp gate based army. Especially given the fact that there's such a wide entrance up into Avoid's natural there. But we'll see where this is going to go here exactly. But right now, I'm just kind of curious why he's standing around.
Yeah, and I think the timing window is sort of closed. I mean, he has a new timing window with the stim, but I think Avoid has a decent army here. I'd like to see another sentry for more force fields, but he's waiting for that stim to finish. He's going to try to run in, kill off a few units. I think Avoid needs to position his units a little bit better, though, at the high ground here, and he's got to be expecting a stim bio push right now. But Avoid actually moving off to the side, so I'm wondering what he's trying to accomplish here. I'm not sure if he's going for a flank. You know, he's way out of position for a flank at the moment. Oh, and he's going to lose a lot of units here if he's not careful. He needs a force field, nice force field going off, but so many stalkers going down immediately. He's getting in position. Oh, and a bit of a missed force field right there. But I think he's going to hold this off just fine. I mean, if you look back at his base, he's now on 4 gates. RedAlert just got his expansion up. And yes, this is going to hurt a lot. It's going to look really bad. But I think Avoid is in the position he wants to be. He's in a position of control. He has a lot more income right now. RedAlert only just got up his stuff. And basically, I think it's the kind of pressure that's supposed to delay Avoid from getting too greedy and trying to move into a really, really big warp gate push.
Yeah, I love the control he had over his units just then. So you saw a lot of that stop move micro as he was passing through the army, and then he just kept going with his own momentum. He didn't try to come back and kill units. He just said, that's fine, I killed enough units, and just kept right on going with just kind of his natural micro direction, and just used that momentum and just left the battle. And as a result, took very few casualties because he had nothing but a handful of wounded marauders, but was totally comfortable with the micro. So I would like to see him getting a factory up now, which it looks like he's getting another barracks. I was going to say I want to see a factory and some and basically eventually some medevacs, but it looks like he's going hard in for this combat shield. He's just got a big bio ball and all the upgrades possible, and finally we're seeing the infantry weapons level 1 being researched at that engineering bay. He got that engineering bay up kind of early, but then he didn't use it until right now. But either way, big battle coming up here. There goes
and I cannot agree with this push at all. The Zealots don't have charges, no force fields. And look at that, RedAlert's just going to kite and kite, and I'm not really sure what Void was thinking right there. I mean, just wasn't a good idea. But he did force a stim, and there's no medevacs out, so those units are going to be a bit weaker. But I think right now he needs to focus on just teching, getting his macro up, and defending, because I don't think it's ever really within the Protoss's purview to attack unless he has his higher level tech like Colossus or High Templar. So I'd actually like to see him just go for some Charge Lots and High Templar right now, and possibly think about getting his third. There we go, break down his rack. Wow, just always a step ahead of the game. But that was a little bit of a misstep, but I think right now Avoid's in a solid position. He's macroing evenly with RedAlert, and RedAlert is being forced to use scans because he doesn't really know what's going on in the Void's base. He doesn't know what tech to expect, whether you should get Vikings for Colossi or just get something that can deal with HTs.
Like so finally we see that factory going up for RedAlert, so hopefully he's just going to go straight into some medevacs, although he could very well just throw down a tech lab on that or move it over and get some siege tanks. But yeah, I think both players are just being conservative here because you've got like 2 giant male lions staring each other off, and nobody wants to lose the game in one battle, and as a result they're both kind of just coming in for small attacks and then leaving right away. Nobody wants to win, even though from our perspective it looks like RedAlert could be winning this right now if he would just push the issue. I think he just wants to make sure he's confident he's got his late game army set in mind.
Yeah, it's going to require some really, really good force fields. I don't like this positioning right now for Void. All of those units stimming and fighting back. And yeah, he needs to get those force fields off. Really bad positioning for RedAlert right now, though. He doesn't have his back to the ramp. He has to have his back to the cliff. And while they try to retreat at that really ugly angle, those Immortals and Stalkers get the shots. And so RedAlert is actually in big, big trouble right now. And he's forced to pull out a lot of SCVs off the line. And I think the response here is going to possibly be an all-in, as these Immortals try to focus down the proper units. But very nice play from Avoid. Has a lot of Stalker retention, actually. So impressive control right there.
Yeah, he lost the one Immortal, but like you said, he kept all of the money Stalkers, which is what you need to counter those to at least do the most damage to those Marauders, and that you could really feel that Immortal was just popping those Marauders nonstop the whole time, and he's really starting to suffer from the fact that he doesn't have a medevac, because he practically went into that fight with all of his units at half hit points just because of that. And of course, here's the trademark factory just coming out. He's going to go for the forward factory scout, since he knows he's all in bio and just wants double medevacs. He doesn't care. He's just going to go ahead and just lift that thing up and bring it with him and use it as a scout. So I always like that tactic, but what he needs right now is some medevacs, because he keeps running his troops into the ground hit point wise.
Yeah, and I really like this play from Avoid, constantly using that robo he got, even though he's not getting more Immortals or Colossi, using them for additional observance because he does have extra gas, and just putting them all over the map. Because I know that a lot of the Korean players actually they get a lot of observers, and instead of moving them around and alerting the opponent to their presence, they park them at strategic points. So
Yeah.
right now, Void has one at the ramp and he has one in the base. He knows exactly when his opponent is going to push, and he'll be absolutely prepared for it. And I think Red Alert is he's really far behind tech wise and army wise and econ wise. So it's going to take wow, he actually has more of an economy right now. Oh, because of the main arting of the drones. But look at how many workers the Void has. Oh my goodness.
72 to 44. Wow.
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. He plays Protoss like almost like a Zerg. It's an interesting style of macro Protoss that's very, very scary.
And I love his choice of High Templar here too. Looks like he doesn't have Storm even researching yet, it looks like though.
Oh, he does. It's about to complete as well.
Oh, you know what? I had the units tab up, not the production tab. My bad. Yep, you're right. Absolutely ready. And right away, he's got Kadarian Amulet queued up as well. Zealot leg speed. This is a brutal anti-bio army he's got here. He's got just enough stalkers to handle the Marauders. A lot of Zealots that are getting upgraded, and the Psionic Storm is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, and he does have a food advantage. Well, not... Oh, a missed Storm there. He should have actually force field. He has a lot of energy on those sentries, and he needs to force field right now. Excellent. There we go. And look at that. Forcing him to make a decision on where to fight. Put a Storm down right there. And I think...
Oh, really good Storms.
And he actually has a smaller army right now, but all those unstimmed units, oh god, are not going to do the damage they need. And if they stim, basically they die. So Avoid contents to pull back, knowing he has his opponents very much on the ropes. And getting that Kadarian Amulet, I think, honestly, he could just move in and kill this right now.
I got to say, I'm amazed at how well RedAlert came out of that, honestly. It looked like he was taking nonstop beatings from that, and yet he has a big army left over at the end of the day. You know, he came out of it pretty well. They're actually both tied in terms of supply, although, as you point out, Avoid has got way more workers. I mean, look how saturated his second expansion is. It's just, you know, he's got so many workers, it's ridiculous. So I think Avoid is going to bounce back, no problem. He's getting double forges coming up right now here, so he's going to get the upgrades lined up. He's spawning in 4 more gateways. He knows he's got the econ. He's got 1,200 minerals in the bank. I think he's going to come out of nowhere and just roll the map with him. So this is the Avoid that I originally fell in love with back in the day, because he played Protoss so aggressively and just huge style, big macro Protoss.
And I like this. He's easily dealing with that Helium like it's not even there. I mean, he has so many warp gates he can just afford to drop units simply for the sake of stopping a harass. And at this point, this is going to be Red Alert's last push, and I don't think it's going to be effective. I mean, it's a scary force, but Avoid has so many Templars, so many Storms at his disposal. I just don't think it's going to make a difference.
And there goes that first big Storm, and he's just going to kind of chase this stimming army. Finally, the Zealot legs have finished this last battle, and he's able to charge in there, negating some of that. And look at that. There's the Kadarian Amulet paying off. He warps him in right away and just drops the Storm where he needs it, and that does so much extra damage. Feedbacking all of the medevacs.
Oh,
he's got
beautiful.
8 spare here today. That is ridiculous. And there's the GG.